this is a really classic scenario to me. Because you've got a game manager on one corner, and then you've got the playmaker. You've got the guy. He's got all the tools, all the skill sets. He's got everything he needs. It's just packed into one specimen of a quarterback. But you gotta remember, despite how much hype this man has, he has never played a collegiate snap in the history of his life. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Huddle podcast. Coming at you for episode 15. I'm Holden. I got Alex Maas with me. And, Alex, March Madness ended a few weeks ago. A lot going on in the sports world. Masters just ended. A lot of big topics. Obviously, the Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini story is huge. So, I think we got quite a bit to talk about, my friend. So, I'm going to get right into it. I want to start us off with Rory McIlroy's second straight win in the Masters. And look, I know there's a lot of hype surrounding the second win, and I know some people would say it's overrated, but personally I don't think that at all. It's a really big deal, and I'm really happy for the guy. He deserves it. And dude shot a double bogey and a bogey earlier in the Masters. So, much respect for any guy that can come back that much. Everyone knew it was either going to be McElroy or Scheffler. Scheffler ended up being a little bit lower than we expected. And, it was Rose that ended up, he kind of stepped up. I don't think anybody really expected him to do that. So, really happy for Rory McIlroy, and congratulations on the second Masters win. Also, now we are going to mention the Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini story. So, pictures have been taken. We do not know how these pictures appeared, but they have been taken of Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini together. If you don't know any backstory, Mike Vrabel is the coach of the New England Patriots, and Diana Rossini is a reporter for The Athletic. And I think just a few hours ago, actually, she just resigned from The Athletic, and I think that really says a lot about the situation. It's just two pictures, and they weren't even, super bad pictures. So, anytime that you end up resigning, from your job, and obviously, people hyped it up way more than it should have been. But anytime that makes you, resign, and of course, they're both married. So, anytime you resign from your job because of it, it kind of shows people how much bigger scale it actually is. There's always the benefit of the doubt. There's something you're not telling us sort of mindset. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on with that. Not really much else to say about it. Mike Vrabel's kind of staying, under the radar right now. We're going to see how that turns out. And, that's kind of just what we got so far.
Yeah, and breaking into that a little bit, the biggest thing that comes from it is just the unnecessary drama. We saw the same thing with Michigan and Sharon Moore earlier at the end of last year. It just brings a whole bunch of unnecessary tension and drama to the team that just doesn't need to be there. Obviously, it could lead to firings. Like it did with Sharon Moore, it just created a whole bigger situation than it should always be, which would be for someone that's not in the spotlight as Vrabel or the reporter is. But yeah, obviously they were at a resort with a bunch of friends and coworkers and everything, and they were spotted spending time together. They were spotted, up in the pool together, holding on a little bit to each other in some of those photos. And then some interviews, former old interviews have come out with, and I forgot her name, but the reporter, we were just saying,
Diana Rossini.
Yeah, Rossini. There was videos coming out with her in talk shows and sports shows saying there's some things I hope my husband doesn't know that I do on vacation. There's some things that just need to be kept quiet. And it just doesn't cause a good look for herself or just anyone in general. It's not a good look for you speaking out on something like that, or, just getting caught in general. I think there's a whole lot more of this that actually does go on that people just don't catch on to or no one looks into more. But it definitely is a problem, not just in the sports world, but in whole in general, is just cheating and sneaking around and everything. Not a good look, especially if you're a big name person in the sports world. But moving on, Oak, I'll let you take over here onto our next topic.
Actually, I'd like to, comment on what you said a little bit. And, we've seen it, countless times throughout history. And, this is living proof of what we're, going through right now as a country. People can take, a story or a picture or anything, and I'm not saying they did here, but they can manipulate it and dramatize it and kind of, be the carpenter and shape it into whatever they want it to be and not what it really is. And I feel like, people are just trying to say it's happening, no big deal, no big deal. And that's there's some people making it a way bigger deal than it is. There's some people saying it's happening, I don't see any issue with it. And which is ridiculous because, I mean, you're either on one side of the fence or the other. It's either this or that. There is no in between. You're either chocolate or vanilla on this one. So, I mean, just with the drama in the news, it's their job. They take that stuff to a whole nother level. And, they want news. They want real stuff. Well, I'm not exactly going to say real, but, they want stuff that people are going to scroll on their phone and say, hey, look, check this out. And then scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And then these guys say, hey, check out what I saw on my phone. And then, they look at it and scroll and scroll. And this stuff just passes around, so much quicker because of media. And, so you gotta remember, it's just a game. The whole essence of it is football. For Pete's sake, let's please keep it that way. Going back to the Sharon Moore thing, that created a whole bunch of crap. And, it was a very fast downward spiral. It was a, top of the world to, in prison 1 week kind of, downward spiral. It was bad. And, I'm not saying that, the media didn't have a hand in that. They for sure did. They're like, hey, check this out. This is news. Let's, they got the hotline to, the entire world. The media knows every single thing that's going on at every second. And go back to what I said about the pictures. How do we even know who got these pictures? Like I said, it's their job. They got people looking out 24/7 for this stuff. So, does it surprise me that something like this would come out to the light and, with the bang that it did? No. Alright. Moving on to the topic I really wanted to get into today. This is kind of for me and all my Tennessee fans out there. If you're not a Tennessee fan, I'm sorry. But go Vols. Rocky Top. Yeah, we're pretty horrible right now. I'm going to admit it, basketball. Y'all did all right. I'll give you a round of applause for that. I did not expect you to beat Iowa State. That was amazing. So, good job, Nate Mint. You're my man. Yeah, tough loss to Michigan. I'm not going to get into that. We got smoked by 30. But, yeah. And then baseball's not doing hot. Tony V, you screwed us. Dude just dipped and not even winning with the Giants. Look, I really do hope he does great. I hope Tony Vitello, guys, a great career. But seriously, man, you left us with Josh Helander, and it's kind of coming back to bite us, dude. We went from national championship to now almost losing to Northern Kentucky in 2 years. That's not good. But now coming to the sport that I love and everybody loves, and I want to talk about college football. Orange and white game just happened. If you don't know what that is, it's where basically you're like, hey, it's like PE style. You line them all up. Hey, you're on this team. Hey, you're on that team. I'll give you a number. 1 or 2. 1, you go to the left side. 2, you go to the right side. We'll make a team. McIntyre, you go this way. Brandon, you go this way. Blah, 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 blah. You go this way. So, orange and white game, yeah. Basically, 2 teams form. They play each other. There's a quarterback on each team. And the 2 QBs were Faizon Brandon and George McIntyre. Both are freshmen, McIntyre's a redshirt freshman. He was the backup for Aguilar last year. And then you got Brandon, who is, heavy elite skill. He's supposed to be really hyped up, big time QB. He's supposed to lead us to the promised land. And when you look at the big scale of things, Bear Bryant once said, and I feel like I've said this in a previous episode, but this is the most true statement I've ever heard. Bear Bryant once said, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none. And Bear Bryant, we could really use some of your wisdom right now in this QB situation. Because Heupel's had the orange and white game to think about it. And he still don't know who the crap he's going to go with. He says he's going to let it play out to the fall, which in my opinion is way too late to be making those kind of decisions. I mean, you want one guy to start getting the starter reps in, the preseason. You don't want to make that decision, 1 week before kickoff. And I mean, Tennessee's kind of got a 50-50 history with this stuff. We had the exact same scenario 22 years ago. For my OGs, you know what I mean. Eric Ainge and Scheffler, I'm thinking. Scheffler, somebody correct me in the chat. But, Eric Ainge and, another QB were battling it out. And he ended up coming out on top. Ainge did. And they had a 10-3 record that year, which was a huge deal. And of course, Scheffler, whatever. Yeah, he hurt himself and he ended up transferring to Ole Miss the next year. So that was a good idea. We made the right pick on that one. We gave the right rod in a sense. And then you turn back the clock a little more recent. This is Heupel's era. This is, Philip Fulmer curse has happened. We've been horrible for the past 20 years. Heupel comes back. We bumped through the Jeremy Pruitt handing McDonald's bags to people. Yeah, we get it. Bumping up, you're loving it. Okay, you get busted. So, we're now in the Josh Heupel era, and you've got 2 QBs, Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton. And who do you go with? Overthrow Joe. And if you watch any football, you know how that turned out. And then Hendon Hooker came in 2022 and blew the lights off the place. We love you, Hendon Hooker. ESPN screwed you. Yeah. Dude tore his ACL last game of the year. Automatically out of the Heisman race. It's ridiculous. But, we kind of have a 50-50 deal with these things. So, I don't really know how this is going to play out. We could end up choosing the Eric Ainge and we have a 10-3 year. We make the playoffs. Everything goes great. Or we take, the overthrow Joe, the Joe Milton. Because if you look at the skill set of these two players, and I'm sorry, I'm talking for a long time. Am I having a yap session? Absolutely. But if you look at the 2 skill archetypes of these players, Faizon has elite skill, but he's making the freshman mistakes, which are expected of him. He has the potential to be something great, but there's going to be huge growing pains. So, he's good, but I don't know if he's good enough to be a freshman starter. It takes a really rare breed to do that. And while he could be a great quarterback, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, I don't know if I see it happening first year. And then you've got George McIntyre. He's not really making the same mistakes that, Brandon is because he's had some time. I mean, he saw Joey Aguilar do it last year. He kind of knows, the gist of things, how college football runs, because he's a redshirt freshman. And I think the issue with him really is just consistency. I mean, consistency is a huge issue in the history of Tennessee. You see a lot of great seasons where we blew it to no-name school in, the last game of the year. And, yeah, SEC schools, when they say, yeah, it just means more. Well, it just means more when you get beat by Northern Kentucky, Winchesterton, Fieldville State University, Tech, Community College. SEC don't really got a great record of being consistent in games against other pretty trash schools. So, Tennessee, obviously, a huge part of that. So, we need someone with consistency. And McIntyre, I'm going to tell you now, I don't really feel super confident about pulling the trigger on either of these QBs. But it's going to be a huge issue if you don't get, some consistency down.
Yeah, and I'm going to cut in there and kind of, discuss a little bit about McIntyre. Obviously, what we've seen from them in their spring performances. McIntyre, obviously, he's entering at QB1. He's looked comfortable in the offense under Heupel, and it looks like he can find his rhythm through the playing style and how they're doing it. The thing is, like, he's more instead of dominant wise, I would say, where he's dominating and fully controlling this offense, he's more comfortable and controlling around it. Obviously, we saw he's more of a short mid game kind of kid. He's been doing a lot of check downs and safe, easy throws that he can get off in the offense, which is it's good. Obviously, you can't hate on a kid that makes the right reads and the smarter decisions. But obviously, looking into that as well, you have to have a player and a QB that can throw deep when you need it. You have to have a player that can throw 30, 20, 40-yard passes when you're down late in game or when you need some pretty hefty long yardage. And that doesn't really feel like what McIntyre can do yet. Obviously, it's going into his sophomore year. He's still young and has some time to develop, but people like him at QB1 as of now. His struggles, I'd mostly say, are just taking a lot of sacks. The O-line's been giving up a lot of easy passage to get to him, and he likes to hold the ball. He likes to hold the ball a long time, and he kind of just like my kid in my football team I'm coaching. It's just pressure, man, and that's a lot of problems for big young starting QBs is getting the ball off with that pressure and that quick line that rushes at you. You got to know when to get it out, and you got to know who's open and who's going to be your player that you can trust. So again, not downgrading him, not pushing him down at all. I like what we saw from McIntyre so far in the spring. A little bit over for Faizon Brandon. I like this kid. He's young. He's big. He's 6'4", about 220. He's like an NFL-sized QB already at only 17 years old also. That's what I like about this kid. He's young. He's got real threat and real talent that we've seen in the spring so far to start. He can throw the ball deep, something that we haven't seen from George. Like I was saying, he's thrown some big touchdowns and some big long throws in the spring practice. So he is making those plays, and he's exceeding expectations pretty early, which kind of counterparts what you were saying. Obviously, he is young, so he does have a lot he does need to work on. But what I've seen from him and others I've seen from him so far in the spring has been nice. Also, his athletics is, yeah, my words have not been good today, friends. I'm sorry. He can escape pressure. He extends plays. He really he can control all assets of the offense. So I would definitely not be surprised if we do get to see a lot more from him going in closer to the fall to start the season. But again, I do think it is going to be a 50-50 chance depending between McIntyre and Brandon.
Well, building on what you said, the overall title, I'm kicking it Madden style. Every QB's got that one main part of them. And despite how many people want to deny it, and I know QBs don't really like to be defined by this, but he's a field general. He's a game manager, McIntyre. He really is. I mean, he just goes there, he rolls at his own pace. He kind of manages the game. He's like the pitcher on the baseball field. He's not like, throwing, 100 miles an hour, and he's not striking out the whole line, up and down the lineup, got a no-hitter going in the 7th inning. He's that guy who's going to slow down the game, try to get the hitters off their rhythm, and just make sure that, like, he's that closing pitcher sort of guy. He just makes sure everybody stays locked in, keeps the rhythm going, and, just make sure things don't get out of hand. And then you've got, this is a really classic scenario to me, because you've got a game manager on one corner, and then you've got the playmaker. You've got the guy. He's got all the tools, all the skill sets. He's got everything he needs. It's just packed into one specimen of a quarterback. But you gotta remember, despite how much hype this man has, he has never played a collegiate snap in the history of his life. That is not good when you're thinking about being named QB1. For the Tennessee Volunteers, an SEC school Power 5, that is a prestigious title. And I don't know if he's ready for it. As far as skill goes, he looks, light years ahead of McIntyre. But at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to whatever Heupel wants it to be. At this point, it doesn't come down to what I think, what you think, what anybody in this world thinks. It comes down to one man, and that man's name is Josh Heupel. He decides who the starting quarterback is. And he decides what type of quarterback he wants in his team. He knows these players better than anyone. The players in Heupel are going to make this decision. I mean, it's two completely different skill sets. So, if you make the wrong choice, I mean, tough luck. If you make the right choice, you're going to do well. So, I mean, I know this is an old coaching cliche, but whatever's best for the team.
100%, I agree with that. And obviously you just still have to look into it. 17-year-old freshman, obviously it's really young. You're going to have high expectations, especially coming in as a 5-star. Compared to George McIntyre, who's a 4-star sophomore. He sat behind Aguilar last season, so he got to learn a little bit, and he knows this offense. Unlike Brandon, who's coming in, North Carolina kid. I think if it's close at the end of this QB battle, if it comes down to a really close decision, I want to say you start the freshman. I've seen too much bright flashes from him to not start this elite QB. And, even if you make mistakes young, like we've seen in the spring games, he's thrown a few interceptions. He had a pick 6 in one of his past games here. Those are rookie mistakes. Those are mistakes every freshman, I mean, even rookies in the NFL are going to make. I think if it's a close decision that comes down to Heupel having to choose, like in the last 2 weeks, I think you want to start this freshman QB. And we have seen just so many good flashes from him.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I agree with what you're saying. Like, I feel you, but I don't know, man. I mean, like, it sounds great until you get to game day and you're playing Alabama in that state and, Neyland is rocking and that QB's shaking in his boots because he don't know what the heck he's going to do. So you have to keep that, this guy's the real deal. One little minor insignificant detail that doesn't need to be mentioned. This dude's a true freshman. Like I said, 17 years old. Dude's mad young. He's got a whole career ahead of him. I mean, this dude needs reps more than anything. And, I mean, he needs to get starting reps. I don't want to just throw him out to the birds and say, here, fly. But that may be the only way to truly get him ready.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to say this too early or too late, but McIntyre at this point, he's kind of at the will of Josh Heupel and, how, I guess I should say, lucky Faizon Brandon gets. Because, I mean, clearly he's outmatched. But he has the one thing that Brandon is struggling in right now. A game mindset. He knows what this league is like. I mean, he watched Joey Aguilar do whatever he did, and then, he was supposed to be the starter this year, but, court says no, so he no play. Yeah. Which I know most Vol fans are either happy or sad about that. I don't know. I'm kind of sad because now we got 2 freshman QBs. So look how we're doing. So look how we're doing, Tennessee. Yep. Hey, tip to all my players out there. Use those JUCO years. JUCO years be good to you. Use the JUCO years. Diego Pavia quote, use the JUCO years. So
kind of staying on the topic of Tennessee, I kind of wanted to get your opinion on the basketball side of things. Obviously, the transfer portal has opened up, and I feel like we're saying this every year, but it continues to grow. There was over like 1,000 kids in the portal after the first day, before the first day even started. Let's going down to this Tennessee roster. Some notable names that have left the team already include Cade Phillips, the Ford, JP Estrella, Bishop Boswell, and that's a big one. I was kind of shocked about that. Amari Evans as well. Losing some high notable players on that team, but also bringing in a few good ones. Just earlier today, actually, Jalen Harrelson, the incoming guard from Notre Dame, just transferred over to Knoxville. They've also got who am I trying to say? Dai at Ames from California, and you got Loyola Chicago, Miles Rubin, a center. So you are bringing in a few good name players. Obviously no high names yet we've seen commit to Tennessee from this transfer portal, but there's still time. Oak, obviously, you're a big basketball guy. It was disappointing to see them fall to Michigan. What are you kind of hoping for, looking for the future of this year with the transfer portal, just freshman signings, looking into this upcoming season for Tennessee basketball?
I mean, Rick Barnes is, if not the greatest coach ever to never win a national championship. Made the Final Four one time with Texas back when, Kevin Durant. We all know about that. Yes, Rick Barnes coached Kevin Durant, if you are not informed of that already. And, Admiral Schofield, Grant Williams, Kendi Chandler. Jemai Meshack actually put up a triple-double recently. Shout out to Jemai Meshack. That's a great game. Kendi Chandler also put up a lot of points too. But I want to talk about this California kid that's coming into Tennessee. I want to talk about him real quick. Because dude put up 17 points a game, which is really good for, today's, college basketball. I mean, at this point, they're practically running a full group support program, and everybody's putting up, 10 points a game. So, I mean, if you can just get that little extra leverage, and look, I'm not too upset about losing J.P. Estrella or Cade Phillips. Boswell, a little. But, I mean, no offense, J.P. Estrella, those guys didn't make a humongous difference. And, obviously, like I said, no big names coming into our portal yet. But we got some starters. We got a core. Okay, here's, the building blocks to our plan. This is the game plan. And, we got some room. We got some wiggle room now. Those guys out of the portal. And, Rick Barnes, you're not Josh Heupel. So I don't expect you to pull off one of the greatest, transfer portal heists in the history of college basketball. I don't expect you to pull the top 3 recruits in the nation. I don't even expect you to pull one out of, the top 20. But if we can just get that one blue chip prospect who is a baller. For example, Dalton Knecht. Anybody ever heard of Dalton Knecht before he came to Tennessee? Not really. We need to find that one guy. We need to find that transfer who is bigger than where he's playing at, and he needs to go to a place that can elevate him. We need another DK. I had a friend who made a joke to me last year. He said, we had a new recruit coming in. He put a mustache on Dalton Knecht, said his name was Colton Knecht. But I mean, it's so true. We need another Dalton Knecht. We need another DK. We need another Knecht 3, whatever you want to call him. I mean, that dude was a gamer. He was a true baller. He knew what he was doing. And with the ball, can't really play any defense, but with the ball's in his hands, he's going to slam that thing into the net. So, I mean, we need somebody like that. I know that's a once-in-a-generational talent, and I know that's a 1 in a billion chance. But if you're out, I'm just telling you now, if you're listening to this by some miracle, and you are out there, and you are remotely decent at basketball, go play at Tennessee, please. We would love to have you. We would absolutely love to have you. If you're like Zakai Ziegler, some Brooklyn kid, coming up from some tough games up there, come to Tennessee. We're gonna get you there, dude. I mean, Zakai Ziegler is one of the most loved players of my generation. We love Zakai Ziegler, 6th man of the year, multiple times. Dude, that dude was a baller. So,
Yeah.
we need somebody like that. Somebody come up out of, nothing. And, I mean, Tennessee's kind of known for that.
Yeah, and I definitely think you guys did find a kid in the freshman Notre Dame transfer, Jalen Harrelson. Like you were saying, he averaged 16 points, about 4 rebounds and 3 assists a game. But what really notable is his last 4 games, he scored 20 plus points. His last 4 regular season games, he gets close to about 4 rebounds a game. He had one game where he had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 25 points against North Carolina State. I'm sorry, NC State. Apologize there.
And NC State's a good program. NC State's a good program.
And they are. So. They're a decent college basketball program. They just made that Final Four run 2-3 years ago. So I definitely do think that you do have a big name coming in here with the Notre Dame transfer. And obviously, he's a power forward, 220 pounds, 6'7", and only a freshman. So you have potential to play with him. You have a good chance to kind of rope him into your game plan and into the Tennessee's scheme, their offensive basketball scheme. I definitely like what you guys got with him. And like you're saying, a Dalton Knecht player would be nice. Just someone that can come in and make easy buckets and quick threes and control the tempo of the game. But like I said, it's kind of hard. And like you were saying, it's hard. Tennessee, again, they're not one of those teams that are like high top 5 basketball prestige, college basketball prestige program. They obviously are growing, and this run they made it to the Elite Eight this year. I think they kind of went further than some people saw them. Obviously, we did kind of predict them making a little bit of a run, but I think they did go further than a lot of people thought. So I definitely have high hopes and high things for this Tennessee basketball program. But again, it just comes down to how Rick Barnes can just come and recruit and get some names out of the portal, and just with some of their freshman signings would definitely help bring this team together even more.
All right, now I got a question for you. Do we want to talk about Wisconsin, or should I just go ahead and end the episode?
Shoot, man. I talked such a big game. We can go wrap this episode up with the Wisconsin Badgers triumphs.
Let's go, High Point! I mean, dude, y'all, you had the perfect sleeper pick. You beat, all the top 5 teams.
We beat the national champions.
You beat Michigan. You beat freaking Michigan, and then you blew it to the 12th seed. Go Badgers. For all y'all out there who saw the High Point game, go Badgers. Y'all got smoked.
Yeah, and sorry, kind of breaking down into it. Obviously, we started hot, we had a decent lead building up into the first half, and the second half, everything just kind of went under. John Blackwell didn't make any of his shots, which I'm going to talk about too, because it's obviously disappointing, the result and the outcome of John Blackwell following that loss. But yeah, we just couldn't make our shots, and this would happen with Greg Gard, and I mentioned it in my Badgers podcast episode a few weeks back, is Greg Gard just, we have these great regular seasons where we'll build up, we'll climb up. They said that we were the last in the Big Ten. They said, we're not going to do anything. We're not a good team. We took down multiple ranked Big Ten teams, including Illinois, Purdue, and Michigan on the road. So this Wisconsin team, they shot their expectations, right? They hired up, they played better than people thought they would. And just like Greg Gard normally does here in the tournament time, he doesn't execute. The players don't execute. I feel like somehow, the past 4 years of the Badgers, it comes down to our star point guard losing us our game. We saw it with Tanjay. We saw it with Nick Boyd this year. We saw it with Johnny Davis against JMU. It just always kind of seems to come down to our star point guard not being able to get the final shot, or defensively kind of, falling apart at the end. But I'm not going to blame it all on Boyd. Obviously, he played his heart out for this team this year. I'm very proud of him, as long with Blackwell. That was a duo, I love to see. I think all Badger fans were really excited and prominent of how this duo managed in the front court, and it sucked. Obviously the most disappointing news coming out of the season is Blackwell hitting the transfer portal. He played such an awful game in the final half, the High Point game, and he wants to go off to a winning team, which is looking like Illinois or Duke are his final options. So obviously best endeavors to him in his future and his game, but yeah, as a Badger fan, I'm disappointed. I'm upset. It feels like it's been like this since 2015 when we lost to Duke. We all know Winslow touched it, so it sucks. Happier news though out of Wisconsin world. Chris McIntosh, the athletic director, did step down. He is getting a role in the Big Ten. I forgot the role, but he's gonna do something in the Big Ten. So congratulations to him, but also congratulations to us Badgers fans. I know a lot of us weren't really big fans of him. Reports saying he was turning down NIL money, and people just weren't happy with him and how he was running the athletics department. So time to open up for that. Maybe could change the future of Fickle and Greg Gard's careers here at Wisconsin. I don't know yet, but yeah. Thank you, Oak, for letting me get my little rant off at the end about the Badgers. I think we have a better future.
Dude, the whole reason I did it, because I remember you texted me the day they got beat. I was literally about to text you, and then you're like, I quit. I just quit. And I'm like, that's so true. I mean, you can't talk the talk you did on our last episode and then come out and do that. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you, yet it's hilarious. So, I mean, I can't really be talking. I have a pretty trashy track record. If y'all could go back to a few episodes back when I said Phillip Rivers was gonna first episode, I'm going OG here. Phillip Rivers was gonna be in the Hall of Fame conversation. Guess what? He plays for the Colts now. That happened. So yeah, and I just got a question. Why does Madden make him look so fat? I mean, seriously, bro, he ate too many hamburgers in Madden, bro. I mean, like, they make, like, I remember 23, they made Sauce Gardner looked malnourished, and not Phillip Rivers looks fat, bro. Y'all gotta fix the graphics, bro. It's not accurate, but anyways, I let you get
your... kids will do that to you, man. Having 9 kids will do that to you, I'm pretty sure. Oh.
Yeah, that has been Inside the Huddle podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm Holden, and this has been Alex Maas, and thank you for dealing with our crazy shenanigans.